Today I'll be talking with Brad Scott, who is my father.
Hey, answer.
Hey, good. How are you today, Dad?
I'm good, thank you.
How was your Anzac Day?
Very peaceful.
Yeah. What did you get up to yesterday?
I didn't do. Just had a few beers with you.
Oh yeah. Did you have a good day yesterday?
I think we did.
Yeah. What else did you get up to yesterday?
I went into school and did a little bit of work.
Oh, yeah. Just marking or
Just some marking and fixing my desk up.
to get started for the next term.
And for term 2 or week 2 on Monday.
Yep. How's school going? Good.
Yes, it's going all right.
Alright, well, what we're going to talk about today is when you went down to Gold Coast for your football and stuff like that. This is just a conversation that we're just going to be having. I'll be recording it. Is that alright with you?
Yes, it is.
Okay. It's just for purposes for my study. If at any point if you feel like we get into topics that you don't want to continue divulging further, we can end this discussion, and that'll be just it. And you can tell me at your own pace how you want to go and where you want to go with it. Is that alright with you?
Yes.
Okay. What age were you when you went down to the Gold Coast?
I was 21 and I thought that if I was going to make my mark in rugby league, I thought that was the perfect time. So I decided to hop on a train and I left this far from Brisbane. When I got to Brisbane, I went and lived with my uncle in Bow Desert,
Yeah.
which was I think 40 or 50 miles west of Brisbane, and I think it's in the hinterlands behind the Gold Coast. So
When you say that you decided to leave Innisfail, was that because the competition wasn't at your standard, or?
I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to see if I was as good as the people that were on TV that I was watching.
And did you just decide to leave at the start of the season, or did you just leave halfway through, or
I left after my birthday.
just after March?
Yes. It was a dream of mine since I was about 18 that I was going to go to Brisbane.
Yeah.
And I thought this was as good as time as ever.
So how did you feel when you went down to Bow Desert?
I felt that, well, I went and lived with my uncle, Jack, and I didn't know whether I made the right move because having not been to Bow Desert, or actually he lived north of Bow Desert.
Where is Bow Desert?
Well, as it says, Bow Desert's about 50 miles, I think, from Brisbane, and it's tucked in behind the hinterlands of the Gold Coast. You have to go over the range from the Gold Coast to Bow Desert.
Okay.
I think I'm not very clear on that.
Is that near Toowoomba and stuff like that?
No. I think Toowoomba, I don't really know where Toowoomba comes. I don't think it's anywhere near Toowoomba. Yeah.
And what, when you got there, did you have an attempt at football, and then you decided that it wasn't, maybe you made the wrong decision, or?
Well, I decided I needed to have work because I didn't have that much money. So, and I was working at Springwood in Brisbane. I think it's on the south side of Brisbane. I worked at a cabinet making shop, or furniture shop it was, that made cabinets for houses, and my boss was, his name was Astor, and his son was Bruce Astor. He was the captain of South in Brisbane at the time, and Bruce's father, who I worked for, was the president of Souths or something like that, and they were going to line me up to go to the Souths in Brisbane.
To play for their football club?
Yes. And he lined it up that Bruce would come and pick me up from training and take me home. Until he found out where I lived. And he realised that it was going to be a 3-hour journey, taking me home and then coming back home. So going from the football field, from the training field to where I live and back home, we got home at about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and decided to knock that on the head. So for me to play for Souths, was I either had to live in Brisbane,
Yep.
which was closer to where the football field was, or forget about the idea. So I went to Plan B and decided to sign up for the Bow Desert.
Yep.
Football side.
And that was in the same year?
Yeah.
And then how did that turn out? How did that eventuate?
That was quite good. When I signed up, I think my contract was I did want to play under 21s, but I'd play reserve grade, and I was getting $100 a match or $100 a win from a reserve grade, which was unheard of at Bow Desert at the time, and A grade.
You were playing both reserve grade and A grade?
Yeah,
And how did that make you feel?
that was alright. It was different. There's more technique. They tackled better or properly in Bow Desert or in the Gold Coast League, because Bow Desert was part of the Gold Coast League.
Yep.
And yeah, they emphasised more on tackling than jersey slinging and head eyes.
Was that the Gold Coast League, was that different to the actual Brisbane League, or did
Yes.
you play in it?
Yeah, it was. It would have probably been a second tier compared to the Brisbane League. Most of the Brisbane people who had couldn't make it or were too old actually went to the Gold Coast looking to get better money.
So you were playing against, even though you were playing against second tier sort of players, you were still playing against experienced players.
Oh yeah, well there was 8 teams, and out of that, if you were good enough, you got, because it was the Super League. Had Super League teams, didn't they? Or the Gold Coast had a team.
Like an ARL, that's one team.
No, not an ARL team. They just had that played the state league team. Like you had North Queensland, Central Queensland, all the
Tweed Heads and
Tweed Heads. No, you had the Gold Coast was an actual team. They had them in the state league competition. Rep team. That was a rep team. If you were good enough for that, I was selected for the under 21 South East Queensland side at the time. But I actually left by the time, so I didn't actually play. But I was picked for the South East Queensland side, which is you got Brisbane, South East Queensland. And they play for an under 21 side.
yeah.
Competition to see who makes the Queensland under 21 side.
So you'd actually left before that. So how long were you actually down there for?
I think I was there for about 4 months.
4 months in total.
I'd say.
And what experience was that like for you?
Experience.
Yeah, like
Oh, as I said, it was like you're playing. There was 8 teams, so there was people that, I can say this. There was 8 teams, and the competition was very tough. As I said, they played in a much fairer way than they do sort of the North Queensland, where I came from.
so you were down living in Bow Desert and you were playing for, what was the actual team for Bow Desert? It was just called Bow Desert.
I think so. Bow Desert. Yeah.
And then you played there for 4 months.
Hmm.
Did you enjoy it or?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a bit cold. Got down to frost. You come from a place where it rains all the time to freezing cold. It's a bit of a shock to the system.
So you're down in Bow Desert and you were living away from home at your uncle's house. And you enjoyed your experience somewhat, or?
Yeah, I did. I met a different lot of people and we become very chummy. No, we had a pretty good bond, guys. I bonded more with the reserve graders because they were probably more real people than the A graders. Because a lot of the A graders didn't come from Low Desert, they actually came from Brisbane, so they only come down 3 times a week, twice to training on Tuesday and Thursday, and played a game on the, I played on a Sunday in those days.
Played every game on a Sunday.
Every game was played on a Sunday, home and away. So we played either at Low Desert or not, I don't remember what field it was. Or we went and we played on the Gold Coast. We did play one, I think it might have been Miami we played. Miami, which is another Gold Coast side. We went down and played them. And I was actually offered to leave Bow Desert, play A grade for Miami. And I think I was on 300 a win, 150 a loss, and I think accommodation. But I was too smart for that, so I turned it down. There was the Miami Leagues Club was run by a solicitor firm, and they were the ones that offered it to me. I had about 50 pints of beer at the time. I said I'd think about it, and but I think I actually left. I think that was around the time I was going to go. But they wanted to sign me up to move from, as I said, from Bow Desert to Miami. But I was too smart for that.
You declined it.
Well, I never got back to them. I just couldn't find, what would you say, didn't feel like moving from point A to point B, I was just too lazy.
Fair enough. And then after those decisions, you decided to come back north. And was that at the end of the season or just midway through?
No, it was midway through the season. Because the mill was going to start. I thought, not going anywhere here. I could be 30 and still playing in Bow Desert, running around in reserve grade or something as I want to be. So I thought I'd go home to where my family was.
Back to where your roots were. And so you're in Bow Desert and you were playing for Bow Desert, and then you decided to go back home to be back with your family. That's right.
And my girlfriend.
And your girlfriend. And then
that was your mother.
Okay. And then when you came back, who did you play for? Did you play football when you came back straight away, or did you just end that season?
No, I ran around. I went back and played for United. Ran around in reserve grade. I didn't really train that much. Just went and played to the end of the season and decided I'd make the next year the start of my dynasty.
The start of your dynasty. Alright, well we're going to wrap this up soon. So you had an experience of moving down to Bow Desert, and you found that quite well and quite eye-opening to some extent.
Yeah.
And then after you decided that it probably wasn't one of your best decisions, so you decided to come home. Is that right?
That's about it.
And when you say that it wasn't probably in one of your best interests to stay down there because you feel like you could have been 30 and still doing the same thing, do you feel like that it wasn't exactly a waste of time in a sense, or it was just something that you had to experience to know?
Probably something I had to experience. I think if I would have, in hindsight, if you would have went down there and probably lived in Brisbane and made the move then, it may have been a better outcome. But again, 21, got no job, nowhere to live, and really didn't have a club until
you go down there.
Yeah, and when I worked for Astor, and he said, "Oh, did you play football?" And I said, "Yes." That's when he invited me
to have to go.
That would go with Souths, but as I said, it didn't pan out. Bruce Astor want to commit to a 3-hour drive after training, which I thought was a bit awkward.
You could have made the extra effort.
You could have been. I could have been. This was at the time of Mel Meninga, Peter Jackson. Who's your favourite footballer? Gary. What's his name? Gary Belcher. They were all at Souths at the time, and Ash Lump.
When you went down to train, or when you went down to have a go,
Yeah.
did you actually train with them? Or?
No, I didn't. As I said, he didn't feel like taking me home.
It was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, that was 82, I think it was. Yeah, Souths were in their prime at the time.
So it seems like it was an experience well learned from, in any sense. Would you say that was one of those like things that you had to just experience just to say that you did it,
Sort of, yeah.
or just to like keep your mind at peace to just sense of like what is or what
Yeah.
could have been?
Yeah, sort of.
Oh well, it seems like it was to some advantage in any extent.
Oh yeah, it was an experience.
Something that changed your footballing career or something?
No, it didn't change my football. It just gave me a different outlook on how people play a game and different people that you meet.
Was there anything else that I think I missed?
I think you've got everything.
Well, I appreciate you giving me your time to talk with you about this topic. Thank you for the opportunity that you've given me.
Thank you.